Hello my dudes, this is another God of War Ragnarok build video, this time with what I believe it's an all-around build. Um, this build doesn't really focus on anything specifically. Instead, the point of this build is to give you a consistent build to fight both boss fights or mobs as you please. So for this build, we are using one of the first armor sets that you get in the game. It's the Vidar's armor set. The chest piece in this case states that combo finishers have a high luck chance to increase Kratos' strength and stagger resistance for a duration. The wrist and waist will grant combo finishers to increase damage, and the finisher damage boost will be of 20% while wearing both pieces of the set. As for the amulet in this case, considering that the purpose of this build is to be an all-around build, by that I mean that you will be able to do good damage just by doing normal melee attacks, and also good sustainable damage from your runic attacks. Um, for the enchantment sets, we are using the Vanaheim's that, which says increases Kratos' melee damage against status afflicted enemies based on his luck. We have 136 luck. It's not massive, but this is one of the few enchantment sets that will give you a melee damage increase. And we want melee damage because this, as I said, it's an all-around build. For the Niflheim's set, we have an increased Kratos melee damage when he's above 75% health based on his defense. Again, we only have 354. It's not a massive number, but same excuse or same reason, if you wish, as the previous set. We are an all-around build. We want damage from all sources, so this helps us in that case. And for last, my favorite, as always, the Muspelheim set increases Kratos melee damage when the Permafrost, Annihilation, or Maelstrom skills are fully charged based on his runic. We have 254 runic. It's not a massive number, but it's a good enough number. In the particular case of this build, we have 543 strength, which is a pretty decent number for the strength. Is not the highest you can go. You can go way higher than this. You can go up to 700, if I'm not mistaken. It's around the max strength you can get if you put your character with all the perks and all the items you need to get to max strength. But we want some sort of balance between having a good amount of strength and a reasonable amount of runic. So this is the build I managed to come up with for that specific idea. We want to be able to kill mobs at ease, and we also want to be able to kill bosses at ease. So in this particular case, for the weapons, we are using the Leviathan Axe with the Runic Hailstone knob, which increases strength runic and also luck. Luck is not massively important, but it does help with the enchantment set I just mentioned, and it will also help with something else, which I will talk about in a moment. So this attachment says that moderate luck chance on hitting a frosted enemy to gain a blessing of runic. This does trigger decently enough times, so it's always useful to go for this choice. It also gives you a balance on using strength, runic, and luck. Initially, I was considering using the Furious Maul, which will give you an extreme amount of strength, but it will take 23 from your runic and 29 from your luck. So the benefit of 40 strength will cost you a total of 52 combined between runic and luck. So you lose more than what you gain. And in this case, I would rather go with the runic Hailstone knob, also because this one gives you a luck chance to grant a gift of strength. It's a high luck chance to get a gift of strength, but on any X kill. So if you are fighting a boss, you are not killing anything until you kill the boss. So the perk from this attachment will not do much. As for this one, as long as you are hitting a frosted enemy, either if it's a boss or enemies along the line, you can get the perk to trigger. So in my opinion, it's a much better option. But considering the versatility of this build, you can either go with one or the other. It's up to you. For the light runic attacks, in this particular build, it doesn't really matter. It's a completely preference. I mean, I like to use these two. Sometimes I change this for the Breath of Thamor if I'm fighting a lot of mobs, which I will do in a minute just to demonstrate the versatility of the build. And again, this is a very early armor set. You get it at pretty much level 1. You can get it and start using it from pretty much the beginning of the game. So you can start the game, get used to it, plan around it, and if you reach the end game still using it, I wouldn't be surprised. For the Blaze of Chaos, we are using the Pommels of the Undying Spark, again, because this gives us a boost of Strength and Runic. In this case, we get 46 Strength and 23 Runic, and we also get the attachment bonus, increases the damage that the burn status inflicts on enemies. In this case, the attachment is not really the center of attention. I was debating using between this one and this one. The reason being that this one will give you more runic than it will give you strength. And it also gives you the increased all burn stages inflicted by 15% and increases the emulation skill charge gain when striking a burning enemy. But in this particular case, I wanted to have a bit more strength than runic as for my final numbers for this build, so I went with this one. As for the runic attacks, again, for this build it doesn't really matter, it's completely up to preference. I'm using the Cyclone of Chaos due to his AoE coverage. It covers a lot of area, it's a spinning attack, it hits everything that is in the surrounding area. As for the heavy, I'm using the Nemean Crush, which is something in between um, an AoE because it does still cover quite a large area. It just won't cover the back of Kratos, but it does give a decent amount of burn and damage. As for the spear, we are using the spear handle warrior echo Sarauter. It gives you a balanced number between strength, defense, and runic, which is strength and runic are the ones that we are mostly focused on. And also, this will say spear attacks against sonic afflicted enemies deal bonus damage and build bonus Maelstrom skills charge. We are not going to be focused on using the sonic arrows, but if we do have to change to those, it's always something you can have at hand. For the runic attacks, it's up to you. You can have whatever you want. Again, the same story. I love the thrust of 1,000 soldiers. I mean, I absolutely love this skill. I find it that is very useful. Deals a lot of damage. Um, and I'm using the artillery of the ancients just because it's an AoE form of runic damage. For the shield, we are using the Dauntless Shield because it's the best shield for pairing, and it also gives us some cooldown. We only have 77 cooldown. It's not a massive amount of cooldown, but it will help you on the long run. It will give you a good amount of cooldown. For the attachment, we are using that which became my absolute favorite, which is the Round of Disruption. It gives you a low luck chance to create an elemental storm and interrupting a double blue ring attacks or pairing. The second reason for using this particular round is that it gives us both runic and luck. Again, we do really want the runic increase. The luck is something that will help with this specific attachment, with the low luck chance to create elemental storms. Um, so again, 136, it's not massive. You're not going to trigger elemental storms all the time, but it will happen and it will be helpful when it does. For the Spartan Rage, we are using Wrath. For this build, I would say probably Fury would be the best, but I like the Wrath just because it's short usage. You use it, it's done. You can proceed with the normal melee damage. For the Relic, again, before I kill the Berserker King, I was using the Talisman of Mine. When I kill the Berserker King, I change for the Hilt of Skofnung to kill the Valkyrie Queen. but then after killing the Valkyrie Queen, I changed it back to the Talisman of Might. In this particular build, I mean, it's entirely up to you. I believe that the Hilt of Skofnug is very boss specific. I wouldn't be going around killing mobs using that. It would be a bit of a waste. So the Talisman of Mind might be the better option in the end, considering that the number one purpose of this build is to be versatile between multiple targets as you progress through the map, and being able to reach the boss fight and still walk out of it with relatively ease. For the Freya pieces of accessories, we are using Sigil Punishment and Sigil Amplification, but it's entirely up to you in this case. It might actually be beneficial to change to Sonic, which I will do just for this little boss challenge demonstration, because the spear will benefit from it. I don't know why I just used that, but okay. In any case, I'm gonna do a boss challenge boss rush challenges for you guys to see how the build performs. As you can see, the damage from the normal melee attacks is actually quite good. He's already dead. Again, I'm going to demonstrate the damage from the runic attack. As you see, it's not massive, but it is good enough, I would say. Oh, I'm going to be... There you go. I thought I would be able to hit him, because he always runs to funny positions when I do that. I absolutely did not see that coming. Well, no worries. We do lose a little bit of the bonus from the set. Too early. Oh, I hate when he does that. Ah, there you go, Storm of Frost, just for the show. And he's dead. This was an absolute terrible run. In any case, it does allow you guys to have a little idea of how the build works against bosses. So if you were again, these are not real big bosses like the Berserker King or Gna, the Valkyrie Queen, but it does give you an idea of how it would work. Now, moving on to the fight with the Berserker King. As you can see, I changed the runic attacks quite a little bit. We avoid his first attacks. We dish up some damage straight away with the light runic attack while throwing arrows with Freya. As you can see, there's a good decent amount of damage. Not something massive, but it's sustainable. We activate the light runic attack with the axe. We do the permafrost. Here it does expose us because I missed the parry time, but didn't make that mistake again. Now we dish out some more damage. As you can see, the amount of damage you get between normal melee attacks and runic attacks is balanced. So you don't get a lot more from runic attacks and not enough from regular melee attacks. But you also don't get too much from normal melee attacks and absolutely nothing from runic. So it's a balanced build. It does allow you to perform pretty well between the normal enemies and boss fights. Here he did expose us a second time, so we go for the wrath to save our skin. We didn't land a lot of finishers so far, because unfortunately, and this is the number one thing that aggravates me about the Berserker King, is that he just runs around all the time. He runs more from us than to us. Considering that he's one of the toughest bosses in the game, he spends more time running away from me than he spends running to me. Try to get some parries here. Maybe we'll activate a storm. Yes, we did. Storm of Fire, which will help us get him to burn. And we finish the job with a light runic. We activate the relic just because. We go with the spear because I thought he was going to just mess around. We wait and we suck the life out of him with the siphoning ability. So this is the Berserker fight. Now moving on to Gna, the Valkyrie Queen. So I changed to Skofnug. I changed the runic attacks around again. As you can see, decent amount from the runic attack, not massively, but sustainable, good enough. We activate Skofnug, we do another runic attack. Now here we activate the Permafrost. We are trying to get those combo finishers to do increased damage, but every time we try to pull up a combo against one of these, they just fly away, or they do something to get away from you. Funny enough, we got the parry here, bring her down with the runic attack, change for the spear, get some damage in, avoid those attacks, and get another light runic attack on her. We trigger the spears, activate the Permafrost. We finally were about to get that combo finisher, but she decided to do the blue ring, so yeah, and she is down. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you haven't subscribed yet, please consider doing so. It's very much appreciated. Leave your thoughts and opinions in the comments down below, or any questions if you have them. Again, I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I'll see you next time. Kadima out. Cheerio!